and welcome to Chicago Style Eats. I'm Tony.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we're your guides on a tour of satisfying dishes born in and made famous by Chicago.
We recently discovered this book, Made in Chicago, Stories Behind 30 Great Hometown Bites by David Hammond and Monica Ng, published by Three Fields Books, which reveals the facts, funny stories, and lore about the hearty comfort foods our city is known for.
It covers the best-known local menu items such as thick, cheesy, deep dish pizza, the juicy, meaty Italian beef sandwich, and of course, the ubiquitous dragged through the garden Chicago dog.
But it also explores the deep cultural history of this town and how people of every ethnic background innovated, sometimes out of the instinct to survive hard times, sometimes to fill a niche, and invented hearty bites that came to be known as Chicago's own.
In addition to the old Chicago standbys, the book showcases many other Chicago-born dishes we did not know about.
So we thought it would be fun to experience all these dishes around the city, and we wanted to share all of them with you.
So, take a seat. Chicago Style Eats, coming right up. Opa! This week's topic is the flaming Saganaki. Now, there are many Greek-owned restaurants throughout Chicagoland that serve a vast menu of American fare. And they serve also Mexican and Italian. And it's all great food. But there are also a good number of Greek-owned restaurants that specialize in Greek cuisine only. And most of these restaurants serve an appetizer that everyone knows as flaming Saganaki. Again, now Saganaki, the term Saganaki comes from the Greek word for the small pan that is used to cook things. Small pan with two handles that they cook things in. And anything cooked in this pan, anything, is called saganaki. And that can be anything from shrimp to scallops and cheese. The saganaki is a traditional dish in Greece, but the Chicago innovation is to set the whole thing on fire. And Stephanie has a theory about that.
I think that they did it as an homage to the Chicago Fire, the Great Chicago Fire of whatever year that was.
1871.
1871.
Which had nothing to do with
burned
Greek people.
Burned down the city. Yeah, nothing to do. Or with Mrs. O'Leary. Mrs. O'Leary's cow did not cause it.
It was the cow didn't cause it.
Right. It wasn't because...
It started at the O'Leary
They need to
farmhouse.
stop blaming Mrs. O'Leary.
Yes, it wasn't her
cow.
Yeah. So, anyway, flaming Saganaki is generally credited to the Parthenon restaurant in 1968, and they served the dish until they closed in 2016. However, the restaurant owner, the owner of Diana's restaurant, also claims to have invented the flaming Saganaki. His name was Petros Kogionis, or I don't know how you say it. Sorry, Greek Americans. You can Kogionis.
No.
We tried, and he claimed to have invented the idea as well. But so there's debate on that. But it's definitely a Greek innovation in Chicago, and it seems to have spread like the Great Chicago Fire, only all over the world, because many restaurants across the country, probably not in Greece, but across the country, serve the flaming Saganaki. It's only an appetizer,
yeah.
But it's a very exciting thing to have this big open flame go up next to your table.
Yeah, it's all in the presentation. That's really what it is. And I think it was a marketing ploy to get more people to come into the Greek restaurants in Greektown on Ashland in the city. So, who knows? When any new group that came to Chicago, there was prejudice against them unduly. And so I think it was probably just to get people to come into the restaurant and have a little gimmick, and then it caught on, so to speak. So, and they'll usually douse the cheese, like a slab of cheese, and they'll douse it with brandy and then light it on fire.
It's usually a drier cheese that'll not completely melt, but you get some good melt, but you get it crisps up. It's usually a Greek casseri cheese, and then they want it to crisp up, and they also don't want it to just go all over the place. But you do need a knife and fork to cut it. You can't just use the edge of a fork to get a piece. Yeah, and
of course you do that when it's not on fire anymore.
Yes. You never even have to worry about touching the fire because they make sure it's out before they bring it to the table.
They use the lemon and lemon juice freshly squeezed.
And when they douse it in the brandy, then they set the flame to it. The tradition is to shout, "Opa!" And "Opa" is generally understood to be a Greek expression of joy about something that is about to happen, although our trusty guidebook says that it's also the sound that someone may make, usually an elderly person who's trying to get up, and they'll say "Opa," and it means get up, but we're not really sure. Nor was the book.
I've never heard of that.
It's in the book.
Yeah, okay. Well,
so
mind you, neither of the people who wrote this book are Greek. Just
true. So obviously there are very many Greek restaurants around.
We could have gone to Greektown, but I've been to some of the restaurants in Greektown, and I prefer a restaurant in Skokie. That's my favorite. It's called Sistaria. And so we knew we were going to be eating dinner, so we wanted to have a good meal. So we went there and ordered the Saganaki. And generally, in the past, when I've had the flaming Saganaki, I felt like the fluid that was used to cause the flame, brandy, tasted like kerosene to me. After it's been on fire and then doused. So I've never been one to really eat flaming Saganaki very often. So it was very good that this time it did not taste like kerosene. You just had the taste of the cheese, and the crispiness was very nice. I always like anything that's crispy, except for mushy fries, but it was very tasty, and it was fun.
Basically, what she said for me, my experience was the same. It's exciting for the flame to go up, and everybody shouts "Opa!" Everybody, sometimes the whole restaurant does it if they see it happen. But it was the same for me. It would be in the past. You taste it, and it was like, it just tastes like a grease fire. But this time around, and we've been to Sistaria many times, and we just never got the flaming Saganaki because it's. I don't know. Would you call it a tourist thing? Or
it's kind of. But
it's a gimmicky thing.
Pretty much every table was getting flaming Saganaki.
The night we were there, it was like we wanted to get video of it happening, and we should watch some whoopas. Oh, they just did it, and then whoopa. Oh,
And there was one little kid who yelled "Fire!" Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
Anyway, so we because we wanted to do it for the video, we ordered it, and it came out, and the waitress lit it on fire, and we tasted it. It was like, this doesn't taste like a grease fire. This is actually pretty good. Yeah. So, kudos to Sistaria for that one.
So, the places where you can go to get flaming Saganaki in Chicago are Athena Restaurant, 212 South Halsted, Avli Restaurant, 566 Chestnut Street in Winnetka, which is not in Greektown, but anyway. Greek Islands, 200 South Halsted, back to Greektown. And Sistaria at 4711 West Toohey in Lincolnwood. All right, so go out to a Greek restaurant, get some flaming Saganaki, and enjoy. Opa! Dorks.
On the next Chicago Style Eats, it's a really simple sandwich. Really, it's just large cuts of cooked green pepper, some mozzarella cheese. It's a patty, but it's made from pizza sausage. Did you like this episode? Click the thumbs up icon below. Don't like it? Let us know in the comments what might make it better. Want to see more Chicago-style eats? Click the subscribe button below to get alerts when we drop a new episode. Thanks for watching.